Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, once again. If I could have your attention. This is, we've done this every year that the 9/11 has happened. This is 9/11. We've done a little thing of a moment of silence and a little prayer. And we're going to add something a little different to it tonight. So if everybody please stand up, a moment of silence.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains, through the prairies, through the oceans wide before. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Ladies and gentlemen, that happens to be my granddaughter, Teresa Botnicek, from the West Side High School Show Choir. And tomorrow she's celebrating her 17th birthday. Let's give her a big round of applause. Thank you, Teresa. Another one of my ideas. Oh, yeah. Good evening. Welcome to the 46th annual Sokolova Hall of Fame induction ceremony. Let's give a big round of applause for 1991 Hall of Fame inductee Bob and the Bouncing Checks, who are providing the music for your dancing and listening pleasure. Wonderful job, guys. I would like to ask you, if you wish to talk to someone or visit, that you go out into the foyer and talk so you don't disturb anybody around you, just as a courtesy, okay? This year, the Omaha Czech-Slovak Culture Club is providing the food for this event. So make sure you stop by and check it out. How's the food, people? I know a lot of you. We would like to thank Mark Villadal from the All-Star Polka Show on KJSK 900 on the AM dial from 9 to 1, and the All-Star Polka Show on KHUB 1340 on the AM dial from 1 to 4. Both shows are on every Sunday. Mark has done the advertising for this event for several years. Wonderful job, Mark. Sokol Omaha Polka Hall of Fame will be on September the 10th, 2023, and the band will be the Jim Kucera Band, to be held right here at the Admiral. So mark that on your calendar. Sokol Omaha Polka Hall of Fame started on October 22nd, 1972. And has been held every year except 1975, 77, and 78, and the past 2 years, 2020 and 2021. With this year's inductions, there will be 155 inductees, of which 113 are deceased and 43 are still with us. In the past 2+ years, we have had 2 inductees pass away, Dean Hansen and Jim Kruska. Would the past inductees who were inducted in the Polka Hall of Fame please come forward to be recognized? All the past inductees come right up front of the stage in front of me. While they're coming up here, this is a little recognized. We sent out 39 ballots and 35 were returned voting. That is how we select the people to be inducted. Also, they can nominate someone to be on the list for future inductions on their returned ballot. These people have done a wonderful job. That is pretty awesome. Out of 39, 34 or 5 returned. This year's list, and I hope I don't forget anyone this year. Ron Anatomy, 1991. 1981. Bob Blecker, 1991. Jim Botnicek, 1994. Dean Fornoff, 1997. Glenn Kocha, 2002. Mark Villadol, 2004. Sonny Swoboda, right up here on the stage by me, in 2005. Bob Stepanek, 2006. Barry Boyce, 2013. Tom Hazuka, 2014. Ron and Darlene Clement, 2014. Louis Sivek, 2015. Stephen Sabota, 2014 and 15. Lou Husputka, 2017. And that is your past inductees. Did I forget anybody? Is there anybody standing?
Frank
Sidlick. Oh, I almost forgot him. Frank Sidlick is in 2011.
Kevin Cooper.
Kevin Cooper. What kind of list have I got going on here? Kevin D. Koopman, 2017. Now did I forget anybody? Oh, Steve Stadium. Somebody's playing games with me. Okay, 2018. Sheets up here. Somebody moved my sheet. Anyway, anybody else that I forgot? Okay, thank you guys and gals. Charles and Irene Warga. Charles Warga was born on September 23rd, 1929 in Plattsmouth, Nebraska. Irene Warga was born on December 25th, 1934 in Omaha, Nebraska. They have 4 children. Steve, who is unable to attend today, and then there's Mary Jo and Tom, who are right down in the front someplace. Stand up and be recognized. And Joe is up here with Irene. Charlie graduated from Plattsmouth, Nebraska Public Schools in 1947. He then attended UNO and some classes, and Irene graduated from St. Mary's in Omaha here in 1952. After high school, Charlie and Irene, with an interest in polka music, met at a polka dance right here at the Sokol Auditorium, now known as the Admiral, on February 15, 1953. They attended polka dances every chance they had and were married on February 23, 1957. In 1970, the Wargas started and owned radio station KOTD AM 1000 on your radio dial, which aired for the first time on Monday, October 26, 1970. The signal was directional, which meant into Kansas a lot and limited to the north. A daily polka show aired from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Monday through Saturday through about 1992. The first on-air host was Dwayne Heyman, who came to KOTB from Little Rock, Arkansas. The first station manager was Dave Messing, who had this to say about the polka programming. Charlie knew polka music would be a success. I always felt Charlie really understood his community, which also included South Omaha community. There were calls the first week about the polka music when listeners were excited about discovering the new station. The Sunday Polka Show was a weekend tradition and grew from 2 hours initially to at times 4 or 5 hours. The request time from noon to 4 p.m. was phones ringing almost nonstop. The most notable hosts over the years were Dwayne Heyman, Del Heyman, who was no relation to Dwayne, Jim Botnichet, Irene Warga, who hosted the show for 16 years, and David C. Denver, and then Robin Wilkes. There were several polka shows that aired on Sundays. The Playmore Polka Party with Ron Adamy, Bobby Z Polka Show with Bob Zagozda, Salto Polka Show with Rudy Dworak, and the Salto Czech Polka Show with Ed and Louis Hospodka. In the 1970s into the 1980s, live remote broadcasts were common at KOTD. These events were church festivals, a polka promotion at South Roads Mall, and a battle of the bands on April 6, 1975, with 5 of the top polka bands on this stage right here at one time. All 5 bands were set up on this stage, and it was broadcast live over KOTD. The Wargas also owned KOTD FM from 1992 to 1998, which featured syndicated big band music from the 1930s to early 50s from Chicago. Not orchestra leaders or musicians, Charlie and Irene played key roles in orchestrating and continuing popularity and promotion of polka music. Charlie passed away on April 11th, 2020. With that, Sonny, would you induct Charlie and Irene Morgan into the Sokoloma Polka Hall of Fame?
Irene, please accept this award from the Sokol Omaha Polka Hall of Fame to you and your husband, deceased husband Charles, in recognition for all the contributions you made to help promote polka music over the years. We really appreciate it. Congratulations.
Thank you, Jim, for the introduction, and thank you, Sonny, for the beautiful plaque. On behalf of my late husband, Charlie, and myself, I want to sincerely thank Sokol Omaha for recognizing us with this service award into the Polka Hall of Fame, and especially for arranging this special ceremony. If Charlie were with us, he would be so excited and grateful to accept this award. Charlie was very community-minded. Serving the community by radio was important, whether it was local news, farm news, sporting events, county fairs, or polka music. He wanted very much to serve the needs of others. We worked together in various businesses for over 60 years. Since 1972, many talented musicians have been inducted into this Hall of Fame. With this service award for promoting polka music, we are honored to be a part of this Hall of Fame group. Polka music was an important part of programming for KOTD radio. I thank all of the DJs who helped us through the years. Many listeners enjoyed hearing the music of local bands and being able to call in their requests. That was my job, to take your requests and select your favorite songs. It was successful because of the many faithful listeners. It was a good era for polka music. So once again, thank you, Sokol Omaha, and the past inductees for voting for us. I also wish to thank my family members who are here today, daughter Mary Jo and husband John, son Tom and wife Sharon, and son Joe on stage with me, and wife Deb, and their families are all here today. Son Steve, who kept things running smoothly at the station all the years of operation, and wife Joni are not able to be with us today. Charlie and I were blessed with 4 children, 12 grandchildren, and 13 great-grandchildren. My congratulations to all of the Hall of Fame inductees tonight. I wish all of you a fun time here, enjoying the bouncing checks in this beautiful auditorium. As Jim mentioned earlier, Charlie and I met here 69 years ago. It was a polka dance that night and the beginning of hundreds more. Even a polka cruise in 1979. Thank you.
Marvin Capoun. The late Marvin J. Capoun was born on December 12, 1933 in Loma, Nebraska. His parents were Joseph and Emma Capoun. He is survived by his wife, Clarice Capoun, and children, David, Mark, and Shay Caldwell, and Joanne Check. Would the kids please stand up?
This is David. David.
Marvin attended elementary school in Loma, Nebraska, and graduated from Dwight Assumption Catholic High School in 1951. Attended the University of Lincoln and the Columbus Community College, getting his degree in 1974. At the age of 12, Marvin got his first instrument, a clarinet, and began taking lessons from Ed Bohati, the grade school teacher at Loma Elementary, from 1946 to 47. While attending at Dwight Assumption Catholic High School, Marvin was in the band directed by the sisters, teaching music from 1948 through 1951. Marvin began playing professionally in 1951. The first band he played for was Matt Slutke Polka Band. Over the years, Marvin played for several bands or music groups. The polka bands were Ernie Kucera, Bob Polinsky's Combo, Adolf Nimitz, Dean Hansen, Six Fat Dutchman, American Czech Brass Band, Reynold Wojda Combo, Al Grebenik, and Matt Slutke. The ballroom dance bands were Bud Compt, Dennis Wesley, Lonnie Lynn, and the Columbus Community Band. Marvin grew up in a family that enjoyed Czech music. His father, Joe Capoun, played a button accordion at home, and with a group that was the name called Joe's Band. They played at special events around Loma and the early years. Thanks to the grade school teacher, Ed Bohati, who taught the students Czech music, Marvin enjoyed singing Czech songs and especially teaching them to his children. Marvin passed away on November 10th, 1919. Sonny, would you induct Marvin Capoun into the Sokol Polka Hall of Fame?
Please accept this award for your late husband Marvin for all the contributions he made in the field of polka music over the years. I know he was a great musician, and I'm sure you miss him. And we're glad that we were able to recognize him for everything he's done for our polka music.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I really appreciate that. Okay, Mark is going to do my talk, and he will do a much better job than me. So I'm going to just give this is a little history on my family.
Thank you, Mom. The Capoun family, when I was growing up, the Capoun name was really pronounced Chapon. And when we grew up in Dwight, Nebraska, my dad grew up in a small town of Loma. That was the Czech way to pronounce our name. But as we moved from Dwight to Schuyler, my dad kind of just conformed to saying Capoun. Our name is spelled very close to the Capouns that ran the Bohemian Cafe. That started with a K, ours starts with a C. But for our family, I just wanted to say that we are very honored to receive this recognition for Marvin Capoun, his induction into the Sokol Omaha Polka Hall of Fame for this lifetime achievement in the field of polka music is really something we're honored as a family with. And I think throughout our lifetime, we've always been honored and blessed to kind of have that Czech heritage sprinkled in throughout our lives in a variety of different ways, not only just in the polka music, but I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. But we wanted to express our thanks to you, Ed Sonny Swoboda, for coordinating this event today and arranging the music from Bob Belka and the Bouncing Czechs. We also wish to thank the past inductees who voted for my dad into this induction, into this Hall of Fame. We thank you. We also have thanks for Jim Botnichek. Thank you for the time that you spent meeting with my mom, gathering information about my dad, and the care that you took with bringing this day about. So we thank all of you for this wonderful celebration. The Czech heritage was really just a wonderful part of my dad's life, especially the Czech music. The one thing about my dad, I guess, just the heritage of the Czech, he grew up in a small community that probably almost everybody just spoke Czech, and that's probably what he knew during his first 5 years of life before he went to elementary school, was speaking the Czech language. And that was very beneficial for him as he became kind of the post office manager in Dwight, Nebraska, as well as taking care of the bank in Dwight, kind of helping people with their money and their needs for planting crops and so forth. That Czech language really came into value when my mom and dad traveled to the Czech Republic probably 25 years ago. My dad just spoke and understood Czech fluently, and they kind of tell the story about a small village that they entered into. They went to a bar or a restaurant, and there were a group of maybe 4 or 5 men sitting at a table, and in Czech, those 5 guys kind of said, "These Americans must be lost." And after my mom and dad and the other people they were with sat down, and my dad went over and started talking to them in Czech. And it just shocked them and surprised them how fluently he was able to converse and talk with them. Because they asked him the question, well, when did you come over to America? And the reality is it was my dad's great-grandpa that came over in 1873. So one thing that I guess is really a blessing that probably all of us that are gathered here is that all of our relatives that came over from the Czech Republic in probably the 1870s really did a nice and beautiful job of carrying on our heritage, passing that along to our relatives and family members. Some of the things my dad was, in addition to being a wonderful musician, he, as far as the heritage, there were some beautiful things he did he was just a wonderful storyteller. And I think some of these things that I'm going to just bring up here quickly that will sound familiar to you. He kind of shared with us the song called Skarka, which is a story about a dog that is bouncing through the green oak fields. And the owner, the farmer that's with him, is just really amazed at how happy this dog was to be bounding through the green oak fields. We also kind of learned a couple other songs. I'm forgetting them right now, but probably the one thing that all of my relatives remember most is Vajula. And I don't know if all of you are familiar with Vajula, but it's a story about a mouse that is stirring, or a mother mouse that's stirring porridge. And the way my dad conformed this song was, as she's stirring porridge, she also gives one of the mouses a spoon, another one a bowl, a plate, and a wooden spoon. But the 5th mouse is really kind of being naughty, so he's sent back to the mouse hole, sent away from the table. But the way my dad would do that is, he would sit us on our lap, and then he would do this Vajula, Vyskaka Shitsku, Nazilemni Lamnichku, Domodala Žlicku, Domodala Vilichku, Domodala Kalishek, Domodala Koflichek, Domaho Korochalavichku, La Shupati, 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 Shupati. He'd end up tickling us under our armpits. So maybe that sounds familiar to others as well. But in a lot of ways, we're really thankful for Marvin Capoun, our dad, our grandpa, our uncles, our uncle to many of you here, and just thankful for the beautiful Czech language, the Czech heritage, the Czech polka music that you all help in carrying on, along with my dad. So we thank you for this beautiful honor.
Good job, Mark. Thank you. Good job.
Thank you.
The late Walter Bahm was born on January 3rd, 1923 in Malmo, Nebraska. His parents were Louis and Bess Bahm. He was married to the late Adeline Skarka Bahm. They are survived by daughter Judy Hankinson and son Scott. They're both up here on the stage with us. At age 7, Walt started playing drums that were loaned to him by his aunt. He then took lessons from Louis Pokorny of Malmo, who directed the Malmo Community Band and then joined the group and played for concerts on Sundays in Malmo. While in the Weston High School Band, Walt got to participate in one of the first band days at the University of Nebraska game day in 1938. That was actually, I looked it up, that was actually 1938 was the year they started band day. The first band Walt played for was Adolf Simonuk Band from Prague, Nebraska. When he was still in high school, after high school, he played with the Royal Highlanders Band from Fremont, Nebraska, with all of the band playing in Scottish kilts. He then played with the Hank Widener Band from Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and he married Adeline Skarka in 1942. Walt served in the United States Navy during World War II as a hospital corpsman from 1942 until 45 in the South Pacific, and also organized a band to play on the ship for the sailors. The list of polka bands that Walt played for: Golden Prey, Adolf Nimitz, Six Fat Dutchmen, Whoopie John, Czechlanders, Mustache Joe, Stella Combo, and the ballroom side, Lou Arnold. Walt owned his own printing company, Capital Printing, and then worked for multiple lithograph companies in the Lincoln area, which included Nebraska Farmer, Nebraska Litho, Mid-America, Web Press, and Arbor Printing. Interesting facts about Walt. He participated in drumming to polka music every morning at 6 a.m., listening to a polka show on the radio back at age 7. While drumming in the band day on UNL, it started raining and he didn't know what to do, but kept on playing till the end. Up and he poked a hole in the drum. The sleeper bus that the Royal Highlander Band used was once one of Lawrence Welk's buses. Walt passed away on October 25th, 2001. With that, Sonny, would you induct Mr. Walt Bahm into the Sokol Omaha Polka Hall of Fame.
Please accept this plaque in honor of deceased Walt Bahm, presented to the family in recognition for all the contributions that he made over the years. Quite an accomplishment. I mean, it sounded like he was quite a musician. Yeah. So congratulations.
First of all, I'd like to thank the Polka Hall of Fame Committee and its members for inducting Dad into the Hall of Fame. As you can tell, he had span for music and really enjoyed it. There were times when I remember Mom and Dad would pretty much polka dance Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And it was usually in Weston on Friday nights. I'd get dragged along. They'd go to Playmore on Sundays and back to Weston. And it was an enjoyable time. In fact, the music that was played, a little bit of that rubbed off on me, and I'm just so glad it did. He was a wonderful person. He was also kind of an ornery guy. I believe the word's a hunyak. Unfortunately, my nickname in high school was hunyak. One story that I'd share with you is Dad and I went to Canada with Moustache Show, and we had a stopover. It was a 2-day trip. There was about 10 of us in the van, and we stopped in Minot and stayed the night. And so I'm ready to go eat. And Dad comes up and goes, "Come on, let's go." I said, "Well, let's go eat." He says, "No, we're going to the grocery store." I said, "Well, why in the heck are we going to the grocery store?" He said, "Just work with me here." So anyway, we go to the grocery store, and I think he's going to pick up some snacks, okay, to go through the trip. He goes in there and buys a can of Oppo dog food. And I'm like, okay, what's going on there? And he just continued, "Work with me, son." So anyway, we get up there, and as we're going up there, and Moustache was with us, and if you ever gone with him, Moustache is a pretty good cook. And he cooked for us when we were in Canada fishing. And Moustache was telling us about this beef stew that he made. And it was really, really, really good. And so we get there the first night, and we unpack, and we get there, and he lets us, we start eating, and all of a sudden Dad stands up. And he grabs Moustache and says, "Moustache, can you come over here?" And Moustache says, "Sure, Walt, what's going on?" And he says, "Well, I just wanted to share with the group here what the key ingredient to your beef stew was." Needless to say, he pulled out the Alpo can. And I still think to this day, 5 guys think that what actually was Alpo dog food in there. And I know there was one happy dog in Canada after that. That was Dad. And that. So again, thanks to Jim and Sonny for everything. Thanks to the committee and all you voting for Dad. And again, thank you very much. And I have one more thing. There's somebody missing up here tonight on this bandstand. She was the first drummer to let me sit in when I was 12 years old. And I know well, Miss Donna. Thank you very much.
Watch your step.
What a guy he was, I tell you. Lots of fun whenever him and Adeline would show up at a dance, it was party time. Larry Skarka was born on November 8, 1956 in Columbus, Nebraska. His parents, Harold Skarka and Laverna Skarka. Larry is married to Shirley Skarka. Shirley, would you please stand up? Let's give her a big round of applause. And has 3 sons. Son Stephen was unable to be here, but Joseph and Anthony. Stand up, guys. Oh, Steve is here. Okay. I thought he wasn't here. You almost missed the party. I was going to have a beer with you. Larry attended grade school in Silver Creek, Nebraska, and graduated from high school at Schuyler Central Public Schools in 1975. He got his first instrument, a trumpet, at age 9 and played in the Silver Creek Schools Band from 1956 until he went to Schuyler Central High School and played in the band there through 1975. Larry began his professional career in 1973, playing for Frank Kucera Band. Then due to Frank's health, and in 1977, Larry began leading the band and later changed the name to the Czechlanders, which is still active to this day. He also has been seen on stage with the following bands: Emil Berdichku, Bob Bleka and the Bouncy Czechs, Greg's Goodzeimers, American Czech Brass Band, Milligan Czech Brass Band, Paul Cothe, Moonlighters, Little Tavern Band. He also has subbed for several bands, which included Ernie Kucera, Leonard Beckwar, Sue and the Blue River Czechs, Matt Slutke, Tony's Polka Masters, Mark Villadal, as well as many others. The Czechlanders have produced 11 recordings over the past 45 years, have traveled to 12 states and Canada. Larry was inducted into the Musicians Hall of Fame in Milligan, Nebraska in 2013. With that, Sonny, would you induct Larry Skarka into the Sokol Omaha Polka Hall of Fame?
Yeah. My good friend, I want to present this to you for all the many years that you've contributed polka music. You're one fine musician, and folks, this band that he's got is the real deal. Czechlanders you got to hear that band. They play the real Czech music. It's fantastic. So with that, Larry, congratulations, inducted into Polka Hall of Fame.
Well, Jim, Sonny, all of you Polka Hall of Fame members, polka fans, friends, and I knew I was going to do this. And all of my family that's here today, I want to say thank you for being here. It's a special day for me. I've been playing polka music for 49 years. And as Jim said, I've played with a lot of bands, been a lot of places, met a lot of people. But this is, as my wife said, this is the big one. So I want to thank everyone, especially all of you Hall of Fame members that voted for me, giving me this opportunity. And I also want to thank Sokol Omaha for continuing all of the members, all of the folks that have been involved in keeping this Hall of Fame going. Today's a special day in several ways. You get to see me cry. So yes, it is my induction, and I feel gratefully blessed. But there's another thing about today. This is a very special day. Today is 9/11, the 21st anniversary of the bombing, terrorist attacks on America. We'll never forget. And also today, and we've got a little bit of conflicting information here, but I believe Jim said this is the 46th annual, is that correct? Induction ceremony?
46.
Anyway, I looked back at the schedule, and the very first induction ceremony was held in 1972. That would make this the golden anniversary.
50 years.
50 years.
Yes.
For the Sokol Omaha holding this celebration. So I think that deserves a round of applause. Thank you, Omaha. Thank you. And the Hall of Fame Committee. I had 3 or 4 pages written, and I decided to scrap it all. You got it. I could tell you everything that I've done for the last 49 years, and some of you would get a chuckle out of it, some of you wouldn't care. But it all started back in 1973, when my folks bought the bar and cafe and dance hall in Rogers, Nebraska. And I was a 16-year-old kid that they could not tell me no. When a band was playing, I was the owner's son, so I could go up and I could set in with any band that played there, and it didn't take very long, and I started getting calls. My first band that I played for was Frank Kucera. And it wasn't too long after that Alan Volish was playing with Frank Kucera's band, and Alan wanted to start his own band. So he did that, and he left Frank without a band. So a few months later, my dad had talked to Frank and convinced him to come play in Rogers. So I took the place of Alan Volish and also Bob Polinsky, and Frank Kucera started playing again. I played for a short time with Emil Berdichko, pretty steady at that time. And also in that time frame, in the early 70s, 73, 74, is when I met Bob Blecka and the Bouncing Checks. And 49 years later, we're still good friends. We played a lot of jobs together, been a lot of places together, and Bob and Greg and all of your family, you are like family to me. I've been very blessed. I was blessed with a little bit of talent, that I could play some musical instruments. And I've been sharing that blessing with people all over the country for 49 years. I've been very blessed with my parents, especially my mother. My mother has been my biggest fan and my biggest supporter all of these years. I was blessed with 3 sons, all of whom are here today. Joey, stand up, please. Steve, would you stand up? Tony? Mike and his friends. And I have a grandson here. Jackson, would you stand up? He's going to be the next generation that's going to keep this Checklanders group going. And the newest addition to this Skarka family is my granddaughter, Reagan. She's 4 weeks old, and yesterday I got to hold her for 2 hours. And I've also been blessed with my wife, Shirley. She supports me with everything I do. She's with me most of the time when I go to play dances. Sometimes it doesn't work out, but she's right beside me most of the time. She loves polka music as much as I do, and there's times that we'll be dancing in the living room, listening to CDs, dancing in the living room. She might have dough raising because she's making kolaches or something, but I've been very blessed with Shirley. I've been blessed with a lot of friends. And most of you here, some of you I don't know, but most of the musicians that are here, we've had times where we've played music together. I've substituted with a lot of bands, still playing Lou Husbuck, the Little Tavern. We've got a job coming up here in the near future. Played with Mark Villadal and Kevin Koopman, and just a lot of the bands that played with Sonny's band in the past. And so I've been blessed. I've really enjoyed playing music for all of my life. And that is the plan. I'm going to continue playing as long as I possibly can. And just to let you know, I have been having the time of my life. I cannot express how much fun I have had playing music for 49 years. I've made a lot of people happy. I've shared happiness with a lot of people. And this is a great honor. I feel really good about this. And so I want to thank everybody for attending this today. And Sokol Omaha, I hope we can keep this thing going. There's a lot more musicians out there that can give a better speech than I can. And so again, thank you everybody. I appreciate it so very much.
The best part about this is going and getting their bios and having lunch with them and just talking music and all the things that I have done and they have done, and I'm just overwhelmed by some of the things that have gone on. Frank James Jim Kucera was born on August 29th, 1966. 66 in Crete, Nebraska. He is married to Deb Kucera. Would you please stand up, Deb? Let's give her a big round of applause. And they have 2 children, son, Dr. Zach, and his wife, Rebecca, from Kucera, and their 2 grandchildren, Landon and Langton. Let's have them stand up. Daughter Brittany, who lives and works in Colorado, was unable to attend. Jim attended grade school and high school at Wilbur Claytonia schools, graduating in 1985. Attended UNL and graduated in 1990 with a music education degree. Then a master's degree in educational administration in 1997 from UNL. At the age of 10, Jim got his first instrument, a baritone, and began playing in the grade school band, and then high school band, as well as performing with the choir at the Wilbur Claytonia schools. While in college, he played in the concert bands at UNL. Jim began his playing professional career at age 14 with Matt Selecty Band. First started to sit in and sub for the band, became a full-time member in January of 1982 when Emil Korberlik could no longer play due to oral surgery. Over the years, Jim has played for Leonard Breckwar, Milligan Czech Brass Band, Jim Botnichek, Kevin Koopman, and the Bohemian Alps Boys. Jim has received awards in his teaching career. The Jack R. Schneider Outstanding Young Band Director in 1992, the Emeritus Crystal Apple Teacher of the Year Award in 2006, Distinguished Service Award by the Nebraska State Bandmasters Association in 2022. Jim has, at age 13, learned how to play button accordion, and to this day, he still plays that same button accordion on dance jobs. There have been 3 albums recorded with Matt Selecty Band and 9 recordings produced by the Jim and his band, as well as a DVD of the Molly B Polka Party. Jim's first band, the Vested Czechs, which started in 1984, was only to be for a weekend, one-time deal for Wilbur Czech Days. It was a reaction, peaceful demonstration, except for the use of music to protest the Wilbur High School Band not wearing Czech outfits while marching in the Wilbur Czech Days parade. To his surprise, it kind of just took off, and to this day they do that. He had no intention of it becoming anything more. After a lot of support and encouragement from Dirk Altman, he hired the Vested Czechs to play a dance at the Wilbur Sokol Hall in October of 1984. The band name changed by the Jim Kucera band in 1990. This was after he decided he was not going to have the band anymore. That lasted just a couple of months. So they made a comeback. Not only did the name of the band change, the music library and the instrumentation did as well. This was in December of 1990, and the first gig of the Reformed band was at the Hebron Legion Eagles, or Legion Club. With that, Sonny, would you induct Mr. Jim Kucera into the Sokol Omaha Polka Hall of Fame?
Yeah. Please accept this award for all the contributions you've done over the years. I see here where you're a band leader, accordion, trumpet, and trombone. But folks, this guy plays a mean button box. He's really a hot shot on that. Yeah. So accept this in recognition of your contributions over the years, Jim. Congratulations.
Kind of hit me when I parked over here that this is real.
How you doing, bud?
And then it hit me even more when we were back of the balcony and we were introduced to the current members of the Polka Hall of Fame. And I'm extremely humbled. I did not do this alone, however. I have a lot of thank yous I need to share with you because it was because of all these people I'm about to list that I'm up here today. I'm honored and humbled to be introduced into the next class of the Polka Hall of Fame. The first is God. I'm far from perfect as a musician. Most important as a person. I fail every day. Yet our God, who is generous and loving and gracious, provides me the opportunity to do something I love, in which I am recognized for. So thank you, God. Next is my family. My wife, Deb, has had to endure many nights alone before we had children, and now, after the children are out of the house, and then after we had children, Zach and Brittany, she had to run them to 2 different activities while I was out playing a gig. They say the spouse of a band teacher or the spouse of a band leader is a tough job. Deb was unlucky to have to deal with both. She got the double whammy. So thank you, Deb. Also, I need to thank our children, Zach and Brittany. Of course, Brittany could not get off from work out at Children's Hospital in Denver today. 4-day straight shift she's working. But I think she's getting this somehow online or FaceTime. Zach and Brittany never complain. But they know that when I miss that home run at a game, or that great dance at a dance competition or a recital, it tore me up inside. I did turn down a lot of gigs through the years, so I wouldn't miss an activity when I could avoid it. Ron and Darlene at the Starlight can verify that I turned down dozens of gigs when I already had an activity, my children first. That's who I was and what I needed to do. I need to thank as well Zach's wife, Becca, for letting me have Zach when we needed to do the card test on the new CD, or go through some recordings and albums and pick out tunes. And I also need to thank my #1 fan, Landon, my grandson. He knows every track of our new CD. You ask him Tall Evergreen, he'll know. And of course, soon to be #1 fan, share that title with Lakin, baby Lakin, over here in front. So, Lakin, do you want to, Zach, want to stand up so I can see Lakin as well? I need to thank all the musicians I've worked with through the years because they made me look better than I am. Especially those that I've worked with most recently in the Jim Kucera band. Terry Heenan, Elmer Nimitz, John Franson, Frank Sidlick. Special thanks to Tim Pospischel and Josh Steger up there in the balcony. We are brothers in this, and we've had to become a little bit more creative with playing mostly 3-piece now because that's what people want. Josh and Tim have been extremely patient with me and some of my far-fetched ideas, and they've been extremely supportive. All of these musicians have meant the world to me, and I was always one to put the relationship with the musician first. And with that, I have no regrets. I've been very lucky. In my almost 40 years as a band leader, I've had only 2 tuba players. Tim helped me start the band. And then when Tim graduated from UNL in 1989 and moved out of state, Elmer came on. Had the fortune, what a great experience that was for me to work with Elmer Nimitz for 16 years. And then when Elmer had heart surgery, he decided he needed to take a step back, and Tim was back in the States, and Tim came back on. And since I reorganized the band, I've only had 2 drummers back since 1990, Terry and Josh. If you go back to when I started this, 3 with Larry Bruckett. When Sonny Swoboda called me to inform me that I was in the newest class, their first thought was, they must be running out of live people. Because I really consider myself nothing special. This past week I took time to read through the bios of all the Hall of Famers of the past, the fathers of our music from the past. Some of them I read up on and reflected on. Jim Havorka, Ray DeShaka, Don Hamsa, Al Grugman, Frank Kucera, who Larry started with, and whom my dad was good friends with. And I think it was because my dad's name was Frank. It was the Frank Kucera thing. Frank Kucera squared when they got together. And boy, I just loved listening to them talk Czech. And of course, Matt Selecki, who was another one of my dad's favorites. To be on this plaque over here with all of these musicians is humbling. And to know that the entire Matt Selecki band now, from the early 1980s, is in the Polka Hall of Fame. I gotta tell you, it was an honor to have worked with this group of musicians. A wise man once told me, you always go back to your roots when they're a positive experience. In almost every situation I've been in my 40 years as a band leader, I've leaned on something I learned from that great group of musicians that I had the opportunity to work with on Matt's band. Gwaine on the accordion, Don, who was a beast on the tuba, Sodi, Norm Sadamka Sr. on the trumpet, and of course Matt. I'm thankful forever for the opportunity that Matt gave me. Many years later, I had an opportunity, after Matt had passed, to reconnect with Matt's son, Robert, who's here in the back, and Matt's grandchildren, and to teach Matt's great-grandchildren at Waverly. The world has a way, life has a way of coming around full circle. To be able to pass on just a little bit of what Matt gave me in the love for music to Matt's great-grandchildren, it's like a wow. What was most special was when I was given great-grandson David Delloy a trumpet lesson, and David asked me one day, Mr. K, can you tell me what it was like to play in my great-grandpa's band? Boy, did I take that opportunity. That was so cool. And I still had a couple of old charts that Matt photocopied to help me learn the music better, and I showed them David and Francis later. This is what the charts look like. This is some of the music that we played. Your great-grandpa gave me this so I could get ready to play in his band. He was gracious. Another person I need to recognize was the first lead trumpet player I worked in with Matt's band. I would be remiss if I didn't mention his name. That was Leonard Klopp. Even though we worked together for four short months, because he was moved suddenly for his job in Texas, he took me under his wing to help get me ready. Before I became a full-time member of Matt's band, he would, when I sat in, he would work with me because he wanted it to go for me. He saw something in me. And I think one of the things that really, why we connected, was because Leonard had children my age at that time. And we really did connect. And my second weekend in the band in January of 1982, we had a road trip on a Friday to Tabor, South Dakota to play for the Fireman's Ball. He prepped me all the way up what to expect on a long out-of-state gig, long road trip, and that was very calming for me. After Leonard, of course, I had the opportunity to work with Norm Sedemka Sr. So I went from a father figure to grandfather figure. And Norm, what a sense of humor, and what a trumpet player. He had, many years before I worked with him in Matt's band, he had throat cancer. And so he still had forever, the rest of his life, the remnants of that where they had to cut in and remove some of his throat and esophagus and do some repair work because they had tumors. So he didn't have feeling in his lips and his mouth. He did not have feeling. And one of the things he used to overcome that was chewing tobacco. He chewed while playing. That first summer, my first full summer in Matt's band, we were playing at Gibbon, Minnesota, on the stage with Jerry Schiff and his band. We had the late shift. Jerry packed up. One of the horn players really liked one of the songs we were about to play. He comes up to Sodi and asks, "Hey, do you mind if I play lead trumpet on the song? I just love this song." And it happened to be a tune that was arranged by Hermie Lishka. Sodi, in his way, wiped his mouth, spit his chew in his cup, and he said, "By all means, go ahead." The guy said, "No, thank you." After the job, Sodi leaned over to me and said, "That's how you take care of people when they want to come sub, chewing tobacco." One last story. Matt taught me how to drive. The lesson was in the bandwagon, that old green and white bandwagon Matt had. We had just finished up a rehearsal out of town, and Matt told me, "Jump behind the wheel." I was really excited. I was 15 at the time. So, I came up on that first stop sign just a little hot. I had to push down the brakes, and when we came to the stop sign, you could just feel the front of the van wanted to come up with the front. The back was shifted. And Matt was very calming, and Matt said, "Okay, Jimmy, nice job, but if we're coming home from a late night gig, just remember you have guys sleeping on the floor. You have guys sleeping on the seats. They're going to roll on each other." The rest of that trip, I coasted. So Deb, Zach, and Brittany, that's why I still to this day coast into the stoplights and stop signs. Last thank yous. Thank you to some of my best friends in this business. Brian Lance, who has always kept my accordions running for me. Randy and Debbie sitting over there. Coop, Steve Stager. Also, thank you to all the fans. There are many friends and friends of the Jim Kucera Band. You're the reason we keep going. Thank you to the Sokol Omaha for this wonderful ceremony. Thanks to Jim and Sonny for their work in this. This is quite an honor, and again, I'm very humble. One last thank you to my family and all the guys I've worked with. Thank you. God bless.
That's you. Y'all have a good time? How about the revival? What do you think of the revival for the Admiral? First of all, I want to thank all you folks for coming and supporting this event. This was 2 years now we were not able to have it because of COVID, and we really appreciate all the support we get. Thank Mark Villadol. Fantastic job you do advertising for us. We appreciate it. Next year's Hall of Fame, like Jim said, will be on Sunday, September 10th here at the Admiral. Put that on your phone and on your calendar, and Jim Kucera's full band will be here to play for the event next year. I want to thank the Folk Hall of Fame partner, Jim Botnichek, for all his help with this year's event and also for past year's events. Let's give him a big hand, folks. I also want to thank the Bob Blecka Band for their great music today. Let's give them a big hand. Bob Blecka. Also, a big thank you to the Omaha Czech Culture Club for providing delicious food for us today. Really appreciate that. And also, congratulations to all today's inductees. And thank you to the past inductees for their support to the Soca Polka Hall of Fame. Let's give them a big hand. And once again, a big thank you to all of you for being here today supporting musicians in the best music ever, polka music. Have a safe trip back home. Thank you.